Coming up, Wicked meets Oz at the Kansas Wizard of Oz Museum.
Holiday cheers spreading along Mass Street's small businesses.
And learn how waves of students are camping out to claim a spot in Allen Fieldhouse.
Live from the studio in Stauffer Flint at the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Good morning. Welcome to KUJH News. I'm Prescott Deckinger.
And I'm Ryan Cartman. Our neighbors down south in Oklahoma are now implementing a prayer video to start the day alongside the pledge. State Superintendent Ryan Walters has now mandated the showing of this video as he did with implementing Bibles in the schools last summer.
We want our students to be patriotic. We want our students to love this country. And we want all students' religious liberty to be protected.
Schools around the state have come out and said that they will not share the video. In an email to Edmond Public School parents, Superintendent Angela Grunwald said, "We know many of you have questions about the video that the Oklahoma State Superintendent has asked us to show to students and distribute to families. I wanted you to know that we will not show the video to any students and we will not be sending it out to our EPS families." Oklahoma State House Representative Jacob Rosecrans also shared his concerns about what this means for public education in Oklahoma.
This is indoctrination. This is true indoctrination. And it ignores local control at every level. You're ignoring people who don't believe, all these different things. And I'm sorry, that's what public schools are all about. You know, we teach the public.
The Office of State Attorney General Gentner Drummond has said that Walters has no authority under state law to implement this video mandate, while multiple school districts in the state have said they will not show the video.
Wicked has officially taken over as the highest-grossing Broadway adaptation ever. Whether you've seen the movie or not, you can immerse yourself in the world of Oz right here in Kansas. KUJH's Francesca Onofrio followed the Yellow Brick Road to the Oz Museum in Wamego, Kansas.
Whether you traveled by broomsticks, ruby slippers, or the Yellow Brick Road, there's a museum located in Wamego, Kansas that has truly brought the heart and passion of the Wizard of Oz to life. With all the hustle and bustle that Wicked has brought to towns all over the U.S., this museum has been defying gravity since its opening in 2003.
The museum is a child of the Columbian Theater and home to many artifacts, originally opening in 1893. For the grand reopening in 1995, they put a few of these artifacts on display, and just over one summer, it gathered over 12,000 people from 13 different countries just to see the Oz exhibit. The community then decided to open the Oz Museum with help from investors, a grant from the state of Kansas, and a lot of community involvement to make it what it is. The museum is constantly collecting and displaying new artifacts over 120 years after the release of the original book that started it all.
Caitlin Britton, the operations coordinator for the Oz Museum, shared how the release of Wicked has impacted traffic.
We're seeing about 25% more people. Usually fall and winter is what we consider our off-season. There's less people traveling, but more people who are traveling are actually realizing that we're here and are taking the time to stop and enjoy our very Oz immersive town, and it's been amazing.
The museum sees more than 40,000 visitors from over 40 different countries annually. Chandler Sims, a visitor from Virginia, made time to stop in.
I figured, when in Rome, so I wanted to come see the Wizard of Oz Museum and then go see Wicked, because I've never seen Wicked before, so I figured it would be a good transition.
The museum has a section dedicated to Wicked and other Broadway performances, and they're hoping to add to their collection soon.
And if you follow the Yellow Brick Road, you too can end up at the Oz Museum. For KUJH News, I'm Francesca Onofrio.
And next week, KUJH's Sydney Clark will take a look at how this museum has been embraced by the community.
Everyone's favorite season of the year has finally arrived. The 2024 Spotify Wrapped and Apple Replay were both released in the past week, giving students a look into their favorite artists and songs from the past year. KUJH's Cameron McCrory went to Jayhawk Boulevard to find out what music was most popular among students.
All right, my top artists, I had Yeet #1, BLP Kosher. He came into town a few weeks ago. New Jeans, if you can tell by the shirt, big New Jeans fan. The Weeknd, and then Youngboy, #5.
My top artists were Don Toliver, Travis Scott, Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, and Drake.
It was Drake, Taylor Swift, and then it was Kanye, Travis Scott.
My #1 was Uzi. I had Future, NBA Youngboy, Drake, and then the Smashing Pumpkins.
absolutely. So I had Miley Cyrus at number 1, Zach Bryan, and then Mountain Joy followed that, and then Camp and Nick D.
Taylor Swift, Lana Del Rey. Pretty basic.
Okay, my top 5 were Morgan Wallen, Luke Combs, SZA, Zach Bryan, and Drake.
My top 2 songs are actually country music songs, which is a little weird. But it was Drinking Alone and Tie the Vines by Ty Myers.
Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Rich was my number 1 song. And then Baby I'm Yours by the Arctic Monkeys. Lottery by KUJHs.
Definitely SZA. I still love her SOS album. Saturn was one of my tops. I listen to that all the time.
It's pretty good. That's who I listen to like on a daily, so I liked it.
I think it kind of encapsulated who I am as a person.
Prescott, I have to ask, what did your Spotify rap look like this year?
Well, mine's a little odd. I had Weird Al Yankovic and Taylor Swift on mine, so those were my top artists.
Very, very opposite spectrums there. I was a lot of country, Morgan Wallen, top artist, gotta love Morgan Wallen.
All right, yeah, he's a pretty good artist. Well, Sam is in the studio to give us a weather update. Sam, what's it looking like this week?
Thank you, Prescott. It was a bitterly cold start to the day today, and it has not warmed up much at all now that the sun's come up. And it was clear overnight, having some clouds move into our area right now. And those clear skies overnight combined with the cold front really allowed those temperatures to plummet. We had a high temperature yesterday around 57 degrees at 3 p.m. and the overnight low this morning fell all the way down to 14 degrees around 7 o'clock. Outside right now we are sitting at 23 degrees. Feels like 14 though, thanks to that wind out of the north, and given that those partly cloudy skies continuing for a couple more hours as we go through the rest of the morning. Prescott?
Thanks for that update, Sam.
See how 23rd Street Brewery has transformed for the holiday season after the break. Welcome back. 23rd Street Brewery is gearing up for the holiday season by decorating its interior with Christmas cheer. KUJH's Lauren Ritchie got an inside look at how the restaurant decks out for the holidays.
Behind these doors is the North Pole brought to Lawrence, Kansas.
You may have been inside 23rd Street Brewery, but let me be the first to introduce you inside the winter wonderland I stand here in front of. From lights, trees, snow globes, Santa, and even some holiday mixed drinks, this place has you covered for the holiday season.
But what you see in your few-hour visit is nowhere near how long the setup process took.
Oh God, several hundred hours, because there were probably about 10 different people that worked on it, I'm thinking.
With multiple stores across downtown Lawrence decorating for Christmas, Matt loves theirs because
of how dramatic our ceiling is, and because our physical structure is just so grand already, and to fill it all up with lights is kind of a big undertaking, and I feel like we did a pretty good job putting a lot of lights up.
And hours of preparation is all worth it when you see the smiles and cheer on people's faces.
I think every single person who walks in, of course, compliments the lights, and then they're just astonished that we decorated so thoroughly, you know?
A Christmas spirit feeling like no other has customers coming back for more.
It's definitely very merry. You get like a joyful spirit, and you're kind of like in a new world of Christmas.
As Christmas creeps closer and closer, the days with decorations slowly come to an end.
Well, the goal is to take things down the week after Christmas.
Located on the west side of Lawrence in the Hy-Vee parking lot, 23rd Street Brewery is a Christmas experience for all ages. For KUJH News, I'm Lauren Ritchie.
Thanks, Lauren. Lawrence residents can enjoy the fun-filled atmosphere Monday through Sunday from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Mass Street in downtown Lawrence is once again strung with colorful Christmas lights for yet another holiday season. Lawrence Parks and Rec lit the lights during the evening hours of November 29th to mark the beginning of Christmas in Lawrence. The lights spanned Mass Street from 6th Street to South Park. I went out to Mass Street on a freezing Monday night to see what people think of these marvelous lights. And it turns out that Christmas lights can even be the perfect setting to have a first date like something straight out of a Hallmark movie. While the trees on Mass Street may be the main attraction, South Park made sure not to miss out on the fun either. Along with other magnificent displays strung throughout the park, the new tunnel of lights opened for the first time ever. The tunnel follows a walking path in the northeast corner of the park and is a sight to see. If past tradition stays the same, the lights will stay up throughout the week of Valentine's Day. While shopping for holiday gifts this season, you can also support local businesses. KUJH reporter Sydney Clark joins us live from downtown Lawrence, where the spirit of gift giving is in the air.
It's Christmas time here in downtown Lawrence, and as holiday cheer is being spread throughout the community, it's also being spread within its local businesses. 'Tis the season to shop local. As you search for the best holiday gift to give, local businesses are doing their best and hopes you choose them this season.
And I think it's a lot more personal. Like, you go into stores like us and you're gonna see like so much more personalized stuff than you would see at like a big box store. But we also take into account like what are the best like gift giving items, like things that people would enjoy.
Wonder Fair is one of many beloved stores on Mass Street that find an increase in business during the holiday season. And the one message these stores want to share is the impact of supporting its small stores within the community.
It's just really important to shop local, just to support like the people within your community, not just at Wonder Fair, but like all the other businesses downtown.
And by showing support to one small business, you are showing it to all of them.
Because not only are we a local business, but we also like stock other local businesses and small businesses. So by supporting us, you're also supporting like other local businesses, which is cool.
Love of Character joined downtown Lawrence 2 years ago and supports other stores within their own. Baker, along with other employees, find that Christmas vibes on Mass is the heart of attracting sales during the holidays.
Mass has a good atmosphere for like holiday shopping, so people really like to come in and shop around.
And also just like the ambiance down here on Mass Street with like the lights being set up and like all the people holiday shopping. It's just so much fun.
Not only does shopping locally save you time than say placing an online order for a gift, but it also allows you to find a hidden gem gift here at a local business in downtown Lawrence. On Mass Street, I'm Sydney Clark, KUJH News.
Thanks, Sydney. Sam is back to tell us more about the upcoming weather. Will we get some relief from this chilly weather, Sam?
Yes. Good news is some relief is on the way. So tomorrow will be a little bit warmer, but then when the weekend comes, that is when we'll be back into the 50s. But I'll touch on that in more detail in just a minute. Looking at satellite right now, again, high pressure is dominating our weather right now. We do have this clouds moving in from the north into our area. We have very dry conditions here, so the clouds are quickly dissipating as we enter our region. But again, could see a couple of those as we go through the next couple of hours. Temperatures right now are in the low to mid 20s throughout the viewing area. Warmest is Ottawa down at 26. We're at 24 degrees here in Lawrence and 23 up in Tonganoxie. As we head through the afternoon, going to be about 27 come 2 p.m., 28 at 4, and dropping back down into those lower 20s as the evening comes about, with the wind gradually weakening out of the north and the skies clearing out as we head through this afternoon and evening. We'll reach an overnight low all the way down at 14 degrees. Again, those clear skies really allowing those temperatures to drop down pretty rapidly, with winds out of the north about 35 miles an hour, bringing a little bit more of that cooler air into our area. Looking at the day tomorrow, 17 degrees out the door at 7 a.m. Definitely going to want those layers if you're heading out early tomorrow morning. Come 10 a.m. up to 30 degrees and up into the low 40s for a high temperature tomorrow afternoon with the sunshine sticking around. Again, now looking at our weekend, 56 on Saturday, 57 on Sunday. Could be a couple strong wind gusts on Sunday, but those warmer temperatures returning. However, as we get in next week, it will cool down a little bit, but not that much. If you're heading out to Columbia for the basketball game, KU against Mizzou, pregame it'll be 49, tip-off 54, final buzzer 56, so not bad at all. Perfect weather for basketball here in December. Now looking at our 7-day forecast, high temperature of 29 degrees today, 45 tomorrow. warming up into the 50s for the weekend. And then as we head into next week, it cools back down a little bit, back into the lower 40s, but nowhere near as low as we are today. Ryan?
Thanks, Sam. Good to see that weather is heating up soon. Coming up in sports, KU football ended their season with a loss in Waco. Millie Favela was there and has more. Last night, the men's basketball team saw their first loss of the season and a court storming. And finally, the women's basketball team traveled to the Virgin Islands last week where they became champions. All this and more after the break.
National champions deserve a clean campus. Don't wait for other Jayhawks to pick up your mess. Keep the University of Kansas clean.
Welcome back to KUJH Sports. I'm Jack Yampolsky, here to give you the updates on all things KU athletics. Last weekend, Kansas football hit the road to Waco, Texas to take on the Baylor Bears. The Jayhawks needed this win in order to continue their season and clinch a bowl game. KUJH's Millie Favela was at the game and details their season for us.
Disgruntled emotions rung through Arrowhead Stadium and Children's Mercy Park far too often to think the Jayhawks began this season ranked number 22 in the preseason AP poll.
I think the Big 12 champion will be the Kansas Jayhawks. And this could be the wrongest prediction that ever wronged if Jalen Daniels does not stay healthy. Lance Leipold is proven on offense. They've got two strong running backs coming back, and Devin Neal, Daniel Highshaw, a couple receivers. They've got Kobe Bryant with 4 interceptions last year. They've got Mello Dotson, who also had 4 picks. They've got to be better. One of the best corner pairs. Right, but they've got to be better up front.
The Jayhawks struggled to take control of the score early in the first 6 games, not including FCS opponents. Kansas found itself backed into a corner, needing to win out the last 6 games of the season to punch its ticket to a bowl game for the 3rd consecutive year. Although the Jayhawks had a shaky start to the season, they became the first team in FBS history to knock down 3 ranked opponents with a losing record. In the regular season finale against Baylor, the team fell short, but why?
Today was kind of similar to how it went early in the season, where we're just not clicking really in any part of the game. Those small things in the game matter, and not saying that we didn't care about it so much this season, but those were the evident things that you saw each of those games that were close, and it came down to that. It's just today was kind of just a snowball effect of bad thing after bad thing.
The Jayhawks 4-5 season has commenced, and the 38 seniors who rebuilt the program prepare for the chance to further their careers in April. For KUJH Sports, I'm Millie Favela.
KU football has undergone a major rebranding under the Lance Leipold era, and the class of 2025 has left its legacy. It looks like the Jayhawks aren't letting up anytime soon, as they picked up an astounding 15 recruits in light of National Signing Day. As for the Kansas volleyball team, their season is not over. Last Sunday, the Kansas volleyball team was named the 3 seed for the NCAA tournament. They will host the first and second rounds inside of Horsch Volleyball Arena. Their first matchup takes place tomorrow at Horsch, where they will go head-to-head with the 14 seed Colgate. This is the second time these two teams have faced off, the first being in September when the Jayhawks took the win in a clean 3 sets. Seniors Cameron Turner, Aya El Nadi, and Toyosi Anabanjo have been huge factors in the Jayhawks' success this year. They were recently named to the All-Big 12 first team, along with freshman Reese Patak. The freshman has had an extremely strong first year in a Jayhawk uniform, recording 101 kills on the season. As a result, she was just named Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Kansas will take on Colgate tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. in front of a sold-out crowd at Horsch Volleyball Arena. Don't worry if you can't get in to watch. The match will be broadcasted on ESPN+. The volleyball team is not the only sport hosting this weekend in Lawrence. The Kansas swim and dive team has their own meet on Saturday. Emily is outside of Robinson and has more for us. Emily?
For their home meet
State on Saturday where they will host Rockhurst here in Robinson Natatorium. Kansas is coming off of a strong performance at the Hawkeye Invitational where they finished 6th overall with 809 points. Haley Farrell stood out for the Jayhawks with a 7th place finish in the 200 fly with a time of 2 minutes and 3 seconds, while Brady Ward finished 8th in the 200 back at 2 minutes and 1 second. Diver Lisa Van Leeuwen took 8th for the Jayhawks in platform diving with a score of 202.85 points. The Jayhawks had a few swimmers with their own personal bests, including Mia Waldron and Eleni Kotsamanis. The Kansas will look to keep the momentum going on Saturday here in Robinson at 1 p.m. Live outside of Robinson Natatorium, I'm Emily Sutter.
Thanks, Emily. Skating on over to the action on the ice, the KU Hockey Club has held its annual Hockey Fights Cancer game on November 23rd against the Drake University Bulldogs. Hockey Fights Cancer is a charitable initiative put on by the NHL during the month of November to unite the hockey community into dedication and raising money and awareness towards cancer research. The Hockey Fights Cancer Assist program gives KU Hockey a way to take part in the initiative. The club raised over $300 throughout the entire month of November through various fundraisers and events. Before the game, players, staff, and fans had the opportunity to fill out their own I Fight For cards. These cards allowed the players, staff, and fans to represent and support someone they know who is fighting cancer. As for the game itself, KU took home a 5-3 win over Drake, improving their record to 8-10 on the season. Not only was it a much-needed win for the Jayhawks, but a much-needed night for the recognition of those who are fighting against cancer. Stay strong. Last night, the men's basketball team took a trip north to take on the Creighton Blue Jays. Our very own Lauren Ritchie and Lindsay Ryan were there and have more.
The Kansas Jayhawks took a trip up north to take on the unranked Creighton Blue Jays. In a final score of 76-63, the Jayhawks fell short, making it their first loss of the season.
Creighton got off to an early 10-2 start and would go on to hold the momentum throughout the first half. Kansas came out of the half on a 7-0 run in 1 minute and 15 seconds, but the crowd of 17,000 plus helped keep the Blue Jays going as they would follow on their own 7-0 run. The shots just weren't falling for Kansas. DeJuan Harris was 3 for 9 from behind the arc, but led the team in scoring, finishing with 15 points, and behind him was AJ Storr and Zeke Mayo finishing with 12. David Coit saw some valuable minutes on the court, but for him, this was his first experience of a crowd storming.
Never in my life. Yeah. Never in my life. I think I adapted pretty fast to what's going on here, so really didn't feel like none. It was just like, okay.
With wonders of how Kansas couldn't get it done, Coach Self had this to say following the game.
I don't think it was because we didn't try. I think it was more we probably weren't as turned up as we need to be turned up.
Kansas will look to get back on track this Sunday when they are in Columbia to take on Missouri with tip-off set for 12 p.m. For KUJH Sports, I'm Lauren Ritchie.
It was a tough night, especially on the offensive end for the men's basketball team last night, but hopefully they can bounce back in Columbia on Sunday against Mizzou. As for women's hoops, they're back in Lawrence after a successful trip to the Virgin Islands where they became Paradise Jam champions. Kara Lyons has more on the Jam.
While the team couldn't return to their immediate family for the Thanksgiving break, they had each other to get the job done, which was a big reason head coach Brandon Schneider likes this tournament, in addition to the good competition.
I think the experience of traveling together, building chemistry, creating that bond, we've always felt like destination tournaments like this are all part of the educational experience.
This teamwork came to life in each of the games. They started the tournament off strong with great leadership from Samaya Nichols. She ended with 20 points, 15 of them in the fourth quarter, to beat Pittsburgh 59-53 in the first game. The rest of the team stepped up to support Nichols in their matchup against Northern Iowa. The Jayhawks earned a season-high 14 three-pointers, along with 4 of the players reaching double digits in scoring. Northern Iowa had a final attempt to send the game into overtime, but fell short and had the Jayhawks walking away with the 76-73 victory. The excitement didn't stop there, and the Jayhawks were ready to compete for the trophy. Prior to the game, Sanaya Copeland emphasized how the team had to play aggressive and together to earn the victory.
They're really physical, so we just have to key in and be tough, box out, rebound, do all the little things.
While the Jayhawks found themselves down 6 points with a minute remaining, Kansas was not giving up and were able to score the 7 points they needed to secure the game and win the tournament. The Jayhawks look to maintain this momentum as they return to their home court of Allen Fieldhouse to face off against Wichita State at 6:30. For KUJH Sports, I'm Kara Lyons.
Kansas women basketball brushed off the loss against Iowa and came back from the Virgin Islands as Paradise Jam Tournament champions. Carolines has more on each of the nail-biting games this past weekend. That's all the updates we have for KUJH Sports.
Lawrence's old-fashioned Christmas parade brings holiday cheer to Mass Street this Saturday.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Welcome back. Camping before a KU home basketball game is a cherished tradition for thousands of Jayhawk students. I took a look at the process students participate in to claim the best seats in Allen Fieldhouse.
Camping before KU home basketball games has been a cherished tradition for nearly 40 years. However, it doesn't consist of s'mores, sleeping bags, and tents. It's a procedure refined over decades of practice. So what does it look like for students to camp out for a Jayhawk basketball game?
Camping starts the day after a KU home game at 5 a.m. when students sign up the respective camping groups for lottery outside the Gate 21 doors of Allen Fieldhouse.
Lottery occurs inside, where camping groups will check in and receive a random number that determines the order in which they'll pick their lottery number. Lottery numbers are chosen randomly from a cinch bag filled with poker chips. Every fifth member of a camping group picks from the cinch bag, and groups are capped at 30 members. The number on the poker chip indicates the order groups get to enter Allen Fieldhouse on game day.
You know, the lottery at 6 in the morning is pretty painful, and starting your day at 6 in the morning is that shows your dedication.
After the lottery process, camping begins, or a better term, staking out. At least one member from each group needs to remain present in Allen Fieldhouse during camping hours, which are 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. on weekends. The camping group order is posted, and some group names produce humorous reactions. To ensure groups are present, roll call is conducted every hour. If a member of someone's group is not present during roll call, they will be moved to the back of the camping order. Final roll call is announced 3 hours before tip-off, and student doors open 90 minutes before game time.
I feel like the best part of camping was just seeing how dedicated everyone was. Yeah. Like, there's so many people in Allen Fieldhouse just camping out for the game. It was crazy.
On game day, students amass outside the gates to find their groups and line up in appropriate order. When the doors open, the students who are lucky enough to pull number 1 are the first to dash for front row seats, excited to cheer and yell for their Jayhawks. For KUJH News, I'm Prescott Deckinger.
Even though this style of camping doesn't contain roasted hot dogs and campfire stories, it doesn't prevent the Jayhawk faithful from enjoying the experience.
Sam's back to give us one final look at the weather. Sam?
Yes, thank you. The good news is it looks like, well, although it'll be cold, it'll be dry weather for the round of 64 match tomorrow as the KU volleyball hosts Colgate. And then for the next game against either NC State or Florida, for whoever wins this one, looks a bit warmer as well, so even better news for that event. Taking a look at some other sports forecasts, really no major concerns, but there could be a chance of rain for track and field opening their season up in Boston, Massachusetts tomorrow. Other than that, though, all looks good, besides the very cold conditions for the basketball game tonight for women's basketball against Wichita State. Taking one more look at our forecast, again, cold today, then a nice warm up for the weekend. And again, cooler temperatures into next week, back down into the low 40s. Dry conditions continue, breezy day Sunday. That really is about it. Ryan?
Yeah, Prescott, going from 55 degrees yesterday to 29 today. Man, big difference.
Yep, you got to
chilly outside.
The Lawrence Old-Fashioned Christmas Parade is only 2 days away. KUJH's Kelly Rowe has more on an event you don't want to miss.
In its 31st year, the Lawrence Old-Fashioned Christmas Parade marks the beginning of the Christmas season for many Lawrence residents. On the first Saturday in December every year, Mass Street becomes a Christmas wonderland. Parade President Marty Kennedy tells us how the parade got its start.
Well, it started out originally down here at the Eldridge Hotel.
31 years ago, where a group was sitting here in the lobby and they were visiting after they had been on a trail ride. And they were just saying that Lawrence, Kansas needs Christmas parade. And that was done by Rob Phillips and his friends. And they sat around here and they just said, we're going to put on a parade. And they did.
The parade will feature over 50 entries. Parade Secretary Patty Kennedy tells us who will start and end this year's parade.
Gordon Murray of Murray Horse Barns, and he has a paint team of draft horses. Their names are Rock and Chalk, and so they'll be right up toward the front of the parade this year. They're always a favorite. Santa is always like the Macy's Christmas Day Parade. Santa is the last one.
This year's parade will take place on December 7th. For KUJH News, I'm Kelly Rowe.
If you're hoping to take in the unique sights of horse-drawn carriages and costume drivers on Saturday, dress warm and head down to Mass Street at 11 a.m. when the festivities begin.
Now, Prescott, I heard from Jack over here that our weatherman Sam has a secret talent that you found out, huh?
Yeah, I was at the rec a couple weeks ago. I was just hitting some back and buys because I'm like that, and I saw Sam kind of just dominating on the ping pong. What, a table court? What do you guys call it?
Yeah, well, it is ping pong or the table tennis club. Fun time. We meet twice a week, Monday, Friday evenings. I'd love to play all sometime.
You think you could beat Forrest Gump in a one-on-one, you think?
Actually, I've never seen the movie, but sure, yeah.
There you go. Oh, that's all we have for you this morning.
Yes, and check out KUJH on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram for exclusive content, and keep up to date on the latest stories at KUJHnews.com.
I'm Ryan Cartman.
And I'm Prescott Deckinger. KUJH News will be back next Thursday at 11:30 a.m. for our last show. Have a good rest of your day.